This is why manifestation feels exhausting for you. Not because it doesn't work, but because you are forcing what you need to assume. Today, I'm going to show you the difference between force and identity, and why one creates results and the other one creates burnout. By the end of this video, you'll know if you've been manifesting from fear or identity, and more importantly, how you can fix it. And for those of you that are new to me, hello, I'm Brooke-Sidney. I'm your favorite mindset and manifestation coach. And today we're gonna get right into it so you can stop manifesting from fear and exhaustion and shift into identity and assumption. Let's get into it. So if you're watching this video, you might be wanting more abundance, wanting a new relationship, wanting more money. You might want a body that feels more powerful and sexy. Or maybe you just want a life that feels really free and expansive. I know freedom is a big one of mine. And so you are visualizing, you're affirming, you're journaling. You might even be using inner conversations. And you may be acting as if or even feeling it as real. And you're doing all of these things, and then life hits, real life hits. And then what happens? You fall into the same patterns because you're still the same person with the same thoughts, the same feelings, and ultimately the same identity. And so with all of the sameness, you're even thinking, does this even work? Will this ever work for me? Maybe manifestation is all a fraud. Maybe this is a complete scam. Maybe I'm just wasting my time. No, that's not it. Your conscious mind has a new desire, but your subconscious mind is still running the same code. You're still working with the same exact programming. So think of it like this. Your conscious mind is like in 2026, but your subconscious mind is still back in 1998, whenever you got that code or that thinking or that wiring put in. So that's what you're battling against. So no matter how good the new software is, if you're still running on the same old hardware, you all know it's one of the reasons why we don't update the iPhone until we get a better iPhone, because we know that the current hardware that's now old is not set up to run all the new and faster operating systems. It's the same way with our brains and our minds and how we work too. So you all know, here on this channel, we teach a lot about identity and self-concept. So you don't manifest what you want, you manifest who you are. Your identity is the beliefs you hold, the stories you repeat, and the assumptions you never question. And so you're broadcasting your identity all the time. Your identity is what you're broadcasting on, like the view in front of you. It's your current perspective, and it doesn't change. So life is not going to respond to your new affirmations or your new journaling. Life is going to respond to who you are. It's going to respond to your identity. So let's talk about the gap between like when you have this new desire, you start implementing a new manifestation routine, and then the manifestation has not appeared, and you're wondering what the hell is going on. There's a gap between the version of you that wants it and the version of you who is it. Not has it, is it. So for example, there's a version of you that wants more money or wants wealth. That means that you can't really still be the version of you who's constantly checking your bank statement or always refreshing your bank account, or worried that the check is going to hit, or worried about not having enough money or overspending, or still making fear-based decisions around money. The version that is wealthy assumes that there's always enough money for her, assumes money loves her, money's always moving toward her or him, makes calm, logic-based decisions or loving decisions even around money, expects support, and even carries herself differently. That gap between the version of you that wants it and the version of you that is it, that's the work. I view identity as not permanent. Identity isn't a story. It's what can be rewritten. It's how we can begin to think about ourselves differently and then begin to operate from that place. I don't think it's from forcing affirmations you don't believe or by pretending or like bypassing all of your patterns, but it's by embodying the new version of you, by practicing being that version before there's even proof. So let's talk about the part of ourselves that we're trying to rewrite, and that is our subconscious. If you've been with me for a while on this channel, you know that the subconscious occupies like 95% of the show. 95% of our behavior is subconscious. Only 5% is conscious, which means that most of the time you are not choosing your reactions. You are reacting from your habitual way of thinking, being, believing, responding. You're simply replaying how you've always been. And most of that programming was installed before you were 7. And for many of us, depending upon what we're trying to change or the area of us that we're trying to manifest like a new thing, we have things that have gotten installed like money is hard, love doesn't last, I have to struggle, I'm never the lucky one, I'm never the one who's chosen, things don't come easily to me. Now, I know that they sound like thoughts or beliefs, but they aren't just thoughts or beliefs. They're patterns. They're programs. And the tricky thing about programs is that they're running when we're not even watching. And so when you sit down to visualize or to journal and you're really, really quiet, you hear like this whisper that says, who the hell do you think you are? I know that I'm not the only person that's ever felt that or ever heard that, right? And that's why I have so many people asking me about affirmations or affirmations. Well, what if they don't feel true, right? This is your identity. This is the stories and the beliefs that you've had for a long time confronting your new manifestation processes. So oftentimes in this gap, we enter what I call the loop. Old beliefs creates old feelings. Old feelings drive old behavior. Old behavior creates old results. Old results then confirm the old belief. And around you go until you're able to interrupt it. And I'm hoping, and as I say here on this channel, I am manifesting that those of you that are listening and watching this video, you are interrupting this pattern as we speak. But you have to interrupt it. If you don't, you will keep creating from that old space. Until you stop the old identity, you're going to keep repeating it. And you must start operating from the new one before you see even proof that it's actually working. So let's talk about your assumptions. I know those of you that are into Law of Assumption and Neville and follow this channel, we do talk about assumptions here. Your assumptions are building your reality, not your effort, not your affirmations, not your circumstances, your assumptions. And most people don't even see them. Again, those assumptions look like those patterned in beliefs. Things like, this is just how my family is. The relationships like that, they don't happen for me. I always have to struggle first. I always have to work so hard. Success takes years. Those aren't facts. Those are just practice assumptions or practice beliefs or even just practice stories that you've done so long that you now call them reality. So let's talk about how we shift this. And I think the shifting is actually easier than you think. The first thing that we do is that we stop fighting the old thought. You know, what you fight or what you resist persists. Fighting actually gives it power and it actually turns our attention to it even more. Instead, when something comes up that you don't want to fight anymore, you don't want to think about it, I want you to ask yourself instead, what would I have to assume to be true for the life that I want to feel natural? And then live from that assumption. So again, rather than fighting like, oh, it feels so hard to get money or success takes so long, instead, start to think about what you actually desire and ask yourself, what would I have to assume for this to be true and for it to feel so natural for me? And then live from that assumption. decide from it, speak from it, and move from it. That's how you close the identity gap. We don't spend time fighting the old thoughts, fighting the old assumption, fighting the old story. We spend our time reframing it and thinking from the point of what we do want. So let's go a little bit deeper into this new shift, the new way that we close the gap. Step one, we want to name the old identity. Who have you actually been? What beliefs are truly running you? You have to be truly honest with yourself. What assumptions keep repeating, like those little whispers that you hear? Write them down, and I'm going to encourage you to be honest. Step two, define the new identity. Who is the version of you that already has it? It meaning your desire. How does she think? What does she assume? How does the world work for the version of you who has it? And more importantly, what does she not tolerate? I want you to get very specific. So step three, then you're going to close the gap in real time, right? When life is truly happening. So when the old identity shows up, I want you to pause, ask yourself, what would the new version of me do? What would the new version of me think here or assume here? Not perfectly. You don't have to do any of this perfectly, but consistently. That's what ends up rewiring your subconscious. That's what shifts your frequency. That's what changes, in essence, what you attract. And I would even say what you allow into your life. Because remember, it's not even just what you think about, how you act. It's also what you will not tolerate, what you will not allow yourself to do. So I want you to realize today that you haven't been failing at manifestation. In fact, you could say you've been succeeding at manifesting from the old identity that you've been living from. But today it changes, because this is the moment that you truly understand that you get to take your power back. Because it's not luck, it's not fate, it's not timing, it's a story, and our stories can change. So before you journal this week or go affirm or do your inner conversations or ask affirmations, ask yourself, who am I being right now? And who do I need to become? Because when the being shifts, when the identity shifts, the having follows. So if this resonates, I encourage you to share this with someone. Make sure you're subscribed, give it a thumbs up. And if you know that you need help working on your identity, make sure you schedule a one-to-one manifestation session. And I'd love for you to drop a comment below. Who are you becoming? Complete this. I am someone who what? I promise you, I read every one. I'll meet you in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.